Hello, this is Craig Oldham with Madlow, and I'm here again with our close friend, Tom Cole, President and CEO of RDA. Tom, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great.
It's
It's
great.
fun to be getting the week started on a Monday morning.
Absolutely. It's what's turning out to be our Monday morning conversation. Hey, we were talking last time a little bit about KPIs and how to build KPIs, but more importantly, how do you build a culture of continuous improvement? Really building insights about how your market works, the dynamics of the market, and really systemically create that culture, not just from the top, but throughout the organization. And as we kind of talked about this, one of the things that we always find is frontline sales, marketing, even really the IT team members often have insight into how the market is changing at a micro level, right? So how do you unlock that market level knowledge that lives within your tactical teams, bring that up to the strategic level, whereas you as a CEO and leadership team can begin to make decisions on it?
Yeah. Well, as a colleague of mine used to say, the people doing the work know long before the leadership on what actually works and doesn't work. And so I think one of the keys really is understanding how to empower them. So we talked before about KPIs, and KPIs at a corporate level where you're looking at revenue or higher top line types of measurements is one thing, but driving those KPIs, seeing the rippling effect as they come down to my KPIs, what I'm doing, my activities, and how it supports the companies, I think is really key. And when they can start to see what they're doing and what the effect is on those KPIs, that's when I think you'll start to see some more sharing of beliefs of what works and what doesn't work. Yeah.
So that's great. That's great. So when you start to think about building out those KPIs, and it's a great philosophy, but then what are some of the techniques that you've seen, processes, tools that a leadership team can implement to really unlock those everyday insights?
Yeah. A lot of it really comes down to data. And it's not the activity data, it's the behavioral data. It's the action a buyer takes after they've done what you've wanted them to do. I've given you a page, I've given you two options on the page. Which one did you choose? It's that behavior that matters. And when you start to build your KPIs around those behaviors, when you start to really understand the mapping of those, how a customer thinks, how they make decisions, how they transact, ultimately how they actually use your products. That's when you have data and KPIs that can support what your business, what will drive business for you. And when you can build your team around that, weekly reviews of the data, then you start to, I think, have the foundation of making that change. Ultimately, though, it's the agreement of the KPIs, which ones matter, which ones affect behavior. But then I think also when you look at the tools, you have CMS systems, CRM systems, ERP systems, marketing automation tools, SEO services. There's, as we talked before, there's 7,000 of these different tools out there. And unfortunately, they all look at the world through their lens. And so they're a silo. They provide data of what they do, but it's their reflection on that data. And so I think fundamentally, when you look at the KPIs and you're looking at behaviors, you're looking across those tools. And so having tools that provide the data, that will drive that data to some kind of an analytical engine where you can combine the data, you can see the behaviors, you can see the flow, the journey. That's really where you want to get to. You got to break down those silos in the tools, and then when you make that available to everyone, the old saying, if I don't want to be the keeper of the information and the keeper of the interpreter, of the information, I want everybody to share in it. That's when I think you'll start to make progress.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So you think about this. So you've got everybody working, you've got everybody kind of rowing in the same direction. You've got the processes that are there. How do you then kind of take and build out all of these elements and get them institutionalized into, your go-to-market strategy and your value proposition. So as you're kind of seeing these things change, as you're getting suggestions, they're boiling up, people, your customer service reps, marketing, IT teams, everybody's kind of building these things. How do you take them as a leadership team and then build them back out as insights and change the way that potentially you do business?
Yeah, great question. Well, I'll build off the last comment. If you're the person that keeps the information, if you dole information out and you interpret that information for everyone, then you don't really have a dynamic team. You've built a caste system where you're the dominant caste and the doers are the subservient caste, and that's not a dynamic team. You really want to get to a point where, from a people empowerment standpoint, they take action, they see results, and they know how to pivot from it. And in today's world, we're so cross-functional. A marketing person does something that affects what happens to a salesperson, a tool they use, a behavior, an action. How somebody buys might affect how a customer service person's involved. How they use it might affect how a customer service person's involved. So your business development team really is that combination. And so they've all got to share the data together. They've got to see how what they do impacts the next person that's providing the service. And so I think the first step is the empowerment of people, and that comes with the data. The second step is really around the tools. Everybody's bought a million marketing tools or services already, so it's not about going out and buying more. It's about getting what you can out of the tool you have. And then if you need to supplement that, fine. If you need to integrate it and create the dashboard, that's fine. But leverage what you have. So empower the people, leverage the tools that you have. And then I think it's the repetitiveness of it. It's changing your process so that every week you're talking to the people about the tools. You're getting them to tell you what's working, what's not working, what they've learned. And as they start to do that, you'll start to build that continuous improvement. I think two great examples from this, Craig, really are Amazon and Walmart. Fiercely competitive against each other, but they're great examples. They both want to compete on the lowest price to a customer. So that already tells you, from competing on lowest price, there's not a lot of margin. There's not a lot of extra dollars to deal with. But they figured out how to get their entire organization focused on this mantra of lowest price, most convenience, and understand your customer. And so you have Amazon, who's built out things like one-click buying, bundling and recommendations, free shipping for members, same-day service, same-day delivery. So they've been zealots about their customer, what their customer wants, and responding to it. Walmart, on the other hand, in these COVID days, they've looked at their customer and they've said, well, let's offer movies, drive-in movies on the sides of our buildings, because it helps build community, because we're about community. We want to help our customers. We want to bring them into our stores so they can buy food, buy products, but be part of a community. And so here's two organizations that have built teams around this concept of know your customer, know their buying journey, and be just zealots around them. Just everything you can to satisfy them. And I think that's really the key. It's using the data, using the systems to empower your team to understand the buyer's journey and really build your business and your community around it.
I think that makes a lot of sense. The interesting thing, some of the great brands that we all know and love have very crisp value propositions that we can even see from the outside. You certainly know that internally they're building the systems and processes in place to kind of bring that value proposition to life, right? And that's really how you build that great culture, but also that culture of continuous improvement as everybody is doing the same thing to kind of build out who you want to be in the marketplace, which is great. So, Tom, as always, this is fantastic. My takeaways from this really are your key performance indicators are really your power, right? Make sure you set the key performance indicators that really drive the business. Make sure everybody understands those KPIs. Number two, you got to break down the silos, right? And make sure everybody understands the KPIs and that they're integrated into everybody's day-to-day life. And number three, don't be the keeper of the information, right? And don't lock it in. You got to make sure that everybody understands and that knowledge is power and that you're sharing that on a recurring basis and that you're spreading that throughout the organization.
Excellent. Yep.
Well, Tom, thank you as always again for joining us. We'll obviously have this posted, and we look forward to speaking with you again.
As do I. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.